What up, though, people? And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and you know what? We got to get into this draft coverage. Our draft prospects that we're going to profile today. These next two segments brought to you by the Feldman Automotive Group. Shout out to Feldman Automotive, man. And I know that you have some history with Feldman as well.
I do. Got myself a car.
Got yourself a car. Hey, you know, got yourself a car. Hey, but you know what? Flannel Sam today is going to break down our first prospect today. You know what? For me, one of those picks, edge, and we are talking about Josaiah Stewart. Oh, wait, grab that.
Oh, he blew.
Grab that right there. Grab it right there. That Josaiah Stewart. Hey, speed edge rusher, and I know that you believe that this could be one of those sneaky good picks for the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely. And no, I'm not just being happy slappy Michigan fan. Josaiah Stewart, I think, is somebody who will be available at pick 60 if the Lions should stay there, and it's somebody that the Lions should absolutely consider. He's got it all. He just plays effing football. He had 8.5 sacks last year, 13 tackles for loss, and when it comes to the metrics, a 27 pass rush win rate, which was the best in his entire class. He can defend the run as well. As you can see right there, you'll see him rushing from the left, bully that tackle, collapse the pocket, forces a sack. He's got more power than somebody his size should, but he's also got the speed. I love that. And he can stop the run. The pitch out to Nate Carter, Josaiah Stewart keeps contained, buries him for a loss. You love to see that. He's got the tape. He's got it all. That one, he does a stunt to the inside and gets to the quarterback for a sack as well. These are from 2023 highlights. You got a lot from 2024 as well. And then this one, look at that. You'll see the replay. He does a power rush on the tackle, and he's able to shed the blocker and force an errant throw. On this one, another run stop. Forces contain, is disciplined, stops Travion Henderson for a loss. He can stop the run as well. Comes unblocked in this one, puts his hand up, bats the ball down, which was huge during that Iowa game.
Brother, his speed just
down from behind because he does have that speed. This one won them the college football playoff semifinal. He diagnoses there's a run, collapses it, gets him on the ground. This one right here, Derek Moore actually gets the pressure, but Josaiah Stewart cleans it up. Love to see that. This one, a speed rush. Just that. Actually, he's the one on this one, dropping back into coverage and diagnoses the screen, buries the running back for a tackle for loss. You've got, this is the speed rush. That tackle has no chance. That left tackle, Josaiah Stewart, just murders him for the sack on Mikey Keene. This one chases the running back down from the backside, unblocked for a tackle for loss, almost a safety. This USC game might have been the best game of his career. Pause it. Actually, you know what? You can't really see that, but pause that right there, if you would, KG.
Sorry, my bad. Bam. Hold on, I can run it back if you need me to.
Run it back.
All right.
Run it back to that previous one, because this might have been the most impressive Josaiah Stewart rush all season long.
Talking about this one?
Yes, this one. Look at how quick this man gets to Miller Moss. Look at how quick
highlight him on the point.
Look how
so they know.
Yes. That's all the way at the beginning.
Oh, damn.
No, that's all right.
Jump back on me. This thing's a little finicky.
It'll give me some opportunities as well to ask a few questions here, because obviously his speed is what jumps off the film already. What are some of those other techniques that you've seen him be able to utilize to get into that backfield, and where do you believe this Detroit Lions, I believe that this defensive, their coaches and positional coaches are in line to help these players develop?
Well, it's because he's got the speed, which obviously you need to have when you're a bit undersized, because he's only 6'1" and 240, which isn't necessarily great, but there are a lot of guys in the NFL who are dominating while being under 250. It's the fact that with Josaiah Stewart, he's got that underrated power. He can bull rush. He can push left tackles who outweigh him by 50 to 60 pounds into quarterbacks, collapse pockets, and when he's engaged in a block, he does use his hands very well to shed blockers. Like I said, the best pass rush win rate of any player in this class, and you see it. He is an all-around pass rushing savant, and as I said before, he plays the run a lot better than given credit for. You can actually start it on this one. This is the run stop, which chases that from the backside, but just be ready for it.
Yep.
Josaiah Stewart is going to be right there on the right. Look how fast. Go ahead and play it. Look how fast he just murders this left tackle and gets to Miller Moss. Miller Moss doesn't even have a chance to breathe before Josaiah Stewart is just on him. And then this one as well. You see him rushing from this side. Look how fast he gets there. Forces the sack fumble. Kenneth Grant. And then this one right here. Power, speed, collapses pocket. Done for Will Rogers.
And what I like about him is I believe that his skill set is so complementary of what the Detroit Lions already have here. You're talking about some space eaters in the interior who will be able to help to spring him. And one of the things that I really liked is this, and help me understand how much you believe the Lions will be able to depend on this as he develops. His ability to drop back into coverage and diagnose plays and almost look like a linebacker out there in stopping it, whether it's a run or whether it's the bubble plays. How well do you believe he can do that at the next level?
That's to be determined, honestly, because he's been more of a pass rusher. You've seen examples of him dropping back into coverage. One of them was on a previous play here, but
he's showing some flashes.
Yeah, at this point, I think he is projects to be an outside linebacker type. This is one of my favorite plays all year, by the way, when he chases down Aiden Childs, forces that fumble. Aiden Childs, I know you don't like that. Aiden Childs is a damn fast guy, and this was, I forgot which one this was.
It's Northwestern.
Okay. You can go ahead. Hey, there's another one right there. Oh, that's the Northwestern one. And this one right here. Look at that power and just shedding the blocker at the end. Just has the tackle on skates before he even knows what hits him. Josaiah Stewart, he's a football player. He's got the numbers, he's got the metrics, he's got the talent, and then when you look at the tape, it just jumps out at you. His only crime is that he was born a little bit shorter than you would like, and he needs to bulk up a little bit. Yeah. And he's got an arm length that isn't necessarily the most ideal. I think what's going to scare teams is more the height than the weight, but I think if you take a Josaiah Stewart, you get a steal because he is one of the most refined pass rushers in this entire draft class, and I think the Lions would greatly benefit from him at 60.
Ah, man, that would be a good one. So this is one that, man, if they went after Myles Garrett, obviously, like he said, the questions are shut down. But part of me is hoping that there is some nuclear option where there's a little bit of F them picks, but maybe a player of this caliber also falls to the Detroit Lions too, to get as much in those trenches lined up. Because I know you said maybe there's a pathway for the player that you're going to profile as well. But KG, man, any questions for the man Flannel Sam up here? This was a great profile, breaking down Stewart and just really highlighting pay dirt.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever projects to be a #1 edge rusher, a guy that gets 10 to 15 sacks, but he will be a guy on a team who is that undersized outside linebacker who gets consistent pressure and would probably be really good as your #2, he's a very different player, but be a Zadarius Smith, but just the outside linebacker version
almost
instead
like
of the
James Houston before the injury.
Well,
kind of, sort of. He kind of reminds me of like a Josh Pascal that's actually a little faster, that can rush the passer a little bit better. And Flannel, I love Josaiah Stewart. We talked a lot about Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, rightfully so. They're first-round guys, but Josaiah Stewart had just an underrated year rushing the passer and getting after the quarterback. My question is, do you think he is somebody that could possibly challenge for a starting spot on this team? Like, we all know Aiden Hutchinson is your 1A, but can he be that guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson week in and week out?
Maybe not in year one, but if you bring him in, if you put him on this rotation, he's a guy that, especially if he gets in the weight room a little bit more, learns the system, maybe by year 2 or year 3, he's a guy who's playing some of the most snaps as an edge rusher. I really believe that. And I think he's got versatility. I think he's got what the Lions really value too, which is the ability to stop the run. I think he's smart. I think he's coachable. I think he's a Dan Campbell type guy. Like I said, maybe not year 1 because they have Zadarius, but at the very least, we saw what happened to the team last year. What if they don't make a move? What if they rely on the draft and there's more injuries? Maybe Josaiah Stewart will be thrusted into duty before you'd ideally like, but he's got the skill set to, I think, contribute right away.
Yeah, and you said the word there. Beyond just the speed that jumps out, is the versatility, and that's why I asked about the flashes that we saw of him potentially being able to diagnose a screen pass or being able to diagnose where the run is and make sure to be a part of stopping that. And that to me is what we know, one of those identifying factors for the Lions when they go into the draft. Versatility. We talked about that all draft season, and it played into a lot of what the Lions did last draft season.
Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out, I think it was Lunchbox in the chat. Sam, what would you comp him as?
It's really tough to talk about a comp. Not as good as Nick Bonito, because Nick Bonito had 13.5 sacks last year, but that archetype. Although, I don't know, Josiah is a little bit more of a, he can put his hand in the dirt as well.
What do you think of NFL.com, their comparison with Azeez Ojulari?
I don't hate that one. That's actually a good one. And I actually think that that's the type of production you could get from him, because Azeez Ojulari is damn good. He's undersized. Yeah. He's more of a linebacker than a defensive end. His only problem is that he gets hurt a lot. Azeez Ojulari that's a good one, because I think Azeez Ojulari in a lot of ways is a poor man's Nick Bonito. That's the more accurate one if you don't have to add any caveats.
I like that, man. Yeah. I like that. What about you, JB Smooth? Anything for the man Flannel Sam?
I mean, I'm just upset that you had to sit here and put the Michigan State highlight in
there. Oh, you know that was
going
going in. Come on now.
That wasn't cool. But no, I give credit to Stewart as well, too. He's a good player, plays tough. I mean, you got to be tough playing at Michigan as well, too. I think adding him to this Lions team could be really fierce competition that, we could add on to this team. So I'm with it. He is a little undersized, but you know what? I think once you get him here to Detroit, we can work on some things.
Yeah. I'm wondering, as we go through these profiles as well, how this does influence what the Chap family is wanting Brad Holmes to go after. Is it the experience, or are you seeing some guys that remind you a little bit of like the type of impact you saw Jared Verse have this previous season?
Yeah, I mean, Jared Verse was a demon as a rookie, and he reshaped what I think the Rams feel that their ceiling is. He was a big reason why they got to the playoffs, and I don't think Josaiah Stewart is going to have that kind of an impact in year one. But for a defensive line that needs some depth, I think that he's the type of guy that you could bring in, and then as he continues to develop, he will be a contributor. I think he's a guy that has a high floor. He's got a lot of experience. He had a couple of years being very productive at Coastal Carolina before he came to Michigan. And you also have to remember, he has experience being more of the man, which he was last year, and being on a loaded rotation, because in the 2023 National Championship season, Braden McGregor and Jalen Harrell were still there, and Josaiah Stewart played more limited snaps. So he's used to playing that kind of a role as well, even on a collegiate team on a very talented defensive lines. And that's probably where he's going to fit in more, at least early on in his career, as a rotational piece on a very talented defensive line. The Detroit Lions, hey. If you're watching, if this doesn't convince you, I don't know what will.
And I'm seeing people in the chat. ADES411, he says Dwight Freeney type, Mitten made, Derek Barnes a replacement. Justice League, I see him in the chat. Stewart is basically a Dwight Freeney.
Yeah, I see Hoofhearted. I feel like he has a good comparison. Kalijah Cansey. He said it's the same thing with him. Small guy, really talented, but his size means more injuries. I don't necessarily agree with that part of it, but I understand where he's coming from.
I think what he's trying to say is that Josaiah Stewart may be the Kalijah Cansey of outside, of like edge rushers, because Kalijah Cansey, he was an undersized defensive tackle, but you've seen him be productive during his time with the Buccaneers. Some Lions fans even think that they should have got him instead of Jack Campbell, and they have a leg to stand on. No disrespect to Jack Campbell. The point is Kalijah Cansey, his size hasn't really hurt him, and I don't think Josaiah Stewart's will either, because in the NFL, especially with mobile quarterbacks, especially with just the way that the offenses are more spread out, you need a speed rusher as well who has that element, who can chase down quarterbacks like an Aiden Childs, for example. Not that Aiden Childs is that caliber, but you understand what I'm saying.
Hey, you got some love
to throw that out there, huh?
Hey, Easy said, great job, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a great profile, great breakdown. Edge rusher, Josaiah Stewart, out of the great University of Michigan, man.
Yeah, and trust me, as I'm not trying to be a slappy, and Like, when you really look into his film, when you look into his numbers, when you look at, even though some of you don't like it, some of the more important PFF stats like pass rush win rate. If you don't like grades, you got to like pass rush win rate. Josaiah Stewart is in the upper percentile, even higher than guys like Abdul Carter. Not saying he's Abdul Carter, just saying that Josaiah Stewart knows what he's doing. He plays effing football.
48 pressures, 9 sacks on the year?
8.5.
8.5?
8.5.
No, he had a damn good year.
No, Josaiah Stewart may have been the best overall player on Michigan this past year. Yeah, you could argue Mason Graham as well, but Josaiah Stewart has an argument.
No disagreements.
Yeah.
None.
Hey, you know what? Let's get into this next one as well, because I know KG has